Section 18 of Birds and All Nature, Volume 4, Number 3, September 1898. Recorded for LibriVox.org by Malcolm Bernstein. The Pectoral Sandpiper. More than a score of sandpipers are described in the various works on ornithology. The one presented here, however, is perhaps the most curious specimen, distributed throughout North, Central, and South America, breeding in the Arctic regions. It is also of frequent occurrence in Europe. Low, wet lands, muddy flats, and the edges of shallow pools of water are its favorite resorts. The birds move in flocks, but while feeding, scatter as they move about, picking and probing here and there for their food, which consists of worms, insects, small shellfish, tender rootlets, and birds. But at the report of a gun, says Colonel Goss, or any sudden fright, spring into the air, utter a low, whistling note, quickly bunch together, flying swift and strong, usually in a zigzag manner, and when not much hunted, often circle and drop back within shot. For they are not naturally a timid or suspicious bird, and when quietly and slowly approached, sometimes try to hide by squatting close to the ground. Of the pectoral sandpiper's nesting habits little has been known until recently. From Mr. Nelson's interesting description in his report upon natural history collections in Alaska, we quote as follows. The night of May 24, 1889, I lay wrapped in my blanket, and from the raised flap of the tent looked out over as dreary a cloud-covered landscape as can be imagined. As my eyelids began to droop and the scene became indistinct, suddenly a low, hollow, booming note struck my ear and sent my thoughts back to a spring morning in northern Illinois, and to the loud, vibrating tones of the prairie chickens. See Birds and All Nature, Volume 4, page 18. Again the sound arose, nearer and more distinct, and with an effort I brought myself back to the reality of my position, and, resting upon one elbow, listened. A few seconds passed, and again arose the note. A moment later I stood outside the tent. The open flat extended away on all sides, with apparently not a living creature near. Once again the note was repeated close by, and a glance revealed its author. Standing in the thin grass 10 or 15 yards from me, with its throat inflated until it was as large as the rest of the bird, was a male pectoral sandpiper. The succeeding days afforded opportunity to observe the bird as it uttered its singular notes, under a variety of situations, and at various hours of the day, or during the light Arctic night. The note is deep, hollow, and resonant, but at the same time liquid and musical, and may be represented by a repetition of the syllables to-oo, 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 to-oo. The bird may frequently be seen running along the ground close to the female, its enormous sac inflated. Mr. Murdoch says the birds breed in abundance at Point Barrow, Alaska, and that the nest is always built in the grass, with a preference for high and dry localities. The nest was like that of the other waders, a depression in the ground, lined with a little dry grass. The eggs are 4, of purplish-gray and light neutral tint. It is sometimes called grass snipe. End of section 18. This recording is in the public domain.